They never told you what he whispered in that upper room. There are teachings that were buried, not because they were false, but because they were too dangerous to survive. This is one of them. What if I told you that at the Last Supper, Jesus spoke words that were never meant for Rome, never meant for councils, never meant for the empires that would rise in his name? Words preserved only in the highlands of Ethiopia, hidden in scrolls that predate the Bible, you know. Words that change everything. You are meant to hear this. The year is 33 AD. The air is thick with betrayal. Judas has already left the room. The disciples lean in close, confused, trembling. They don't yet know this is the last meal. They don't yet know what's coming. But Jesus does. And in that moment, surrounded by bread and wine and shadow, he speaks. Not to the crowds, not to the Pharisees, not to history, but to them, to the inner circle, to those who could bear it. He speaks of the monad. Now pause, because most of you have never heard that word in church. The monad, the one, the indivisible, the unknowable source beyond all names, beyond all forms, beyond even the God you've been taught to worship. In Gnostic texts, texts older than your New Testament, the monad is the true origin, the silent Father, the hidden light. Not a being, not a judge, not a king on a throne, but the eternal stillness from which all things emerge. And Jesus, according to the Ethiopian Orthodox tradition and early Christian mysticism, taught that salvation does not come through the monad. Let that land. Salvation does not come through the source. If you felt a chill, good. You should. Because what you're about to discover isn't just theology. It's a key that unlocks why the church fought so hard to erase certain books, why entire libraries were burned, why mystics were silenced. And if you're ready to go deeper, if you're ready to see what was hidden, then do me one favor. Hit that like button right now. Subscribe to this channel, because what comes next, few are prepared to hear, and I promise you, this is only the beginning. Let's go back. Before Rome, before Constantine, before the creeds and the councils that decided what you were allowed to believe. In the 1st and 2nd centuries, there were Christians who called themselves Gnostics. The word means knowers, not believers, knowers. They claim to possess secret teachings passed down from Jesus himself, teachings that went beyond faith, beyond scripture, into direct experience of the divine. And in their texts like the Gospel of Thomas, the secret book of John, the Gospel of Truth, they spoke of the monad constantly, the unnameable one, the hidden God, the Father of lights who dwells in pure silence, untouched by creation, unknowable even to the angels. Beautiful, right? Mystical, transcendent. But here's the twist. The Gnostics taught that the monad did not create this world. Read that again. The source, the true God, did not make the earth, the flesh, the suffering, the death. This world, they said, was the work of a lesser being, a blind God, a demiurge, a jealous architect who mistook himself for the Most High. And humanity? Trapped, imprisoned in matter, souls of light buried in bodies of clay, wandering through a labyrinth designed to keep them asleep. Sound familiar? It should, because this teaching, this cosmology, was everywhere in early Christianity, until it was declared heresy, until it was hunted, until it was erased, but not in Ethiopia. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church is the oldest continuous Christian tradition in the world, older than Rome, older than Byzantium. They canonized books the Western Church rejected, books like Enoch, books like Jubilees, books whispered about in monasteries but never preached in cathedrals, and in their tradition, hidden in their liturgy, in their sacred commentaries, is a teaching that echoes the Gnostic revelation. Salvation does not come through the monad. It comes through the Son. Not because the monad is evil, but because the monad is too far, too pure, too utterly transcendent to touch this broken world. The monad does not intervene. The monad does not suffer. The monad does not descend into flesh and blood and agony, but the Son does. Now listen carefully, because this is where it all turns. Jesus, in the hidden teachings, is not the monad. He is the Logos, the Word, the first emanation from the silent source, the bridge between the unknowable and the known, the one who dared to enter the prison of matter, to walk the labyrinth, to become human, to bleed, to die, so that those who are lost could find the way back. Not back to the monad, not yet, but back to remembrance, back to the light within, back to the knowledge that we are not these bodies, we are not this flesh, we are sparks of the eternal, and we have forgotten. And Jesus came to remind us. At the Last Supper, surrounded by his disciples, he breaks the bread, he pours the wine, and he says, according to the mystical tradition, "This is my body, broken for you. This is my blood, poured out for you." But he doesn't say, "Go to the Father." He says, "I am the way," not the monad. The way, not the source, the bridge, not the distant silent God who cannot be named, but the God who became flesh, who entered the suffering, who bore the weight of matter so that matter could be redeemed. Because here's the secret. The monad does not need us. The monad is perfect, complete, untouched by our pain. The monad is the eternal stillness before the first breath, the silence before the first word. But the Son, the Logos, the Christ, he chose us. He descended. He entered time. He walked among thieves and prostitutes and tax collectors and broken fishermen who didn't understand half of what he said. And he told them, "I am the door, I am the gate, I am the resurrection and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me." Not through the monad, through him. Now before you close this video, before you call this blasphemy, ask yourself, why does this bother you? Why does the idea that God is too transcendent, too far, too silent to save you? Why does that feel wrong? Because deep down, you know it's true. You've prayed into the void, you've cried out in the dark, and sometimes the heavens feel like stone. Sometimes the silence is unbearable, and that's when you realize you don't need a distant God. You need a God who bleeds, a God who weeps, a God who knows what it's like to be betrayed, abandoned, nailed to wood. You need Jesus. If this is stirring something in you, if you feel like you've stumbled onto something you weren't supposed to know, then don't keep scrolling. Subscribe right now. Hit the bell, because this channel exists to pull back the curtain on the mysteries the world tried to bury. And trust me, we're just getting started. Let's go deeper. In the Gnostic Gospel of Thomas, Jesus says, "If you bring forth what is within you, what you have will save you. If you do not bring forth what is within you, what you do not have will destroy you." Not faith alone, not belief alone, but awakening, remembering, bringing forth the light that was always there, buried beneath layers of forgetting, beneath the noise of the world, beneath the lies of the demiurge who whispers, "You are only flesh, you are only sin, you are only dust." But Jesus says, no, you are more. The monad does not tell you this. The monad is beyond telling. The monad is the silent witness, the eternal observer, the unmoving stillness. But the sun speaks. The sun acts. The sun reaches into the mud and forms man and breathes life and says, "You are my beloved." And that's the scandal. That's the mystery. That's why they tried to bury it. Because if salvation comes through the sun, not through rituals, not through priests, not through institutions, but through direct encounter with the living Christ, then the gatekeepers lose their power. In Ethiopia, in the highlands where the Ark of the Covenant is said to rest, there are monks who have guarded these teachings for centuries. They chant in Ge'ez, an ancient tongue, older than Arabic, older than Latin. They read from scrolls that were old when Rome was young. And in their liturgy, in their hymns, they sing of the Son as the mediator, the one who stands between the unknowable Father and the suffering world, the one who bridges heaven and earth, the one who makes the distant God near, not through theology, through incarnation. God became flesh. God entered the prison. God descended into the labyrinth so that we could find the way out. And at the Last Supper, he gave them the roadmap, not in doctrines, not in commandments, but in symbols, bread and wine, body and blood, the material world transfigured, the flesh made holy, the prison transformed into a sacrament, because the Gnostics were half right. This world is broken, this world is fallen, this world is a trap, but Jesus didn't come to escape it. He came to redeem it. And that's the teaching they didn't want you to hear. That salvation is not about fleeing matter. It's about transforming it. It's not about denying the body. It's about remembering that the body is a temple. It's not about cursing the earth. It's about seeing the earth as the stage where the divine drama unfolds. The monad does not need the earth. The monad is beyond it, but the sun loves it. The sun bleeds for it. The sun dies for it. And in dying, he opens the gate. Now here's where it gets personal. You are not saved by knowing about the monad. You are not saved by philosophical speculation, by mystical visions, by gnosis alone. You are saved by encounter, by relationship, by the moment when the distant God becomes the God who calls your name. And that God is Jesus, not a symbol, not an archetype, not a metaphor, but the living Word, the incarnate Logos, the Son who descended so that you could ascend. The monad cannot die. The monad cannot suffer. The monad cannot weep in a garden, sweating blood, praying, "Father, if it is possible, let this cup pass from me." But the Son can, and did, and does, every time you break, every time you fall, every time you think you're too far gone, too broken, too lost. The Son is there, not watching from a distance, not judging from a throne, but kneeling in the dirt beside you, whispering, "I know, I've been here, and I'm not leaving you." That's the teaching that was buried, not because it's heretical, but because it's too powerful, too intimate, too dangerous to the systems that need you to stay small, to stay guilty, to stay dependent on their rituals and their rules. But the truth is this: you don't need a mediator between you and Jesus. Because Jesus is the mediator, you don't need a priest to tell you you're forgiven, because the Son already died to prove it. You are not separated from God by sin. You are separated from God by forgetting, and the Son came to remind you. In the Ethiopian tradition, they call him Iasus. In the Coptic tradition, Iesus. In the Aramaic, he spoke Yeshua. The names change. The languages shift. But the reality remains. He is the way. He is the truth. He is the life, not the monad, him. And here's the apocalyptic edge, the final revelation. The monad will never fail. The source is eternal, unchanging, perfect. But that perfection is cold. That eternity is distant. That silence is unbearable. What you need is not perfection. What you need is presence. What you need is a God who knows your name, who counts your tears, who numbers the hairs on your head, who says, "I will never leave you. I will never forsake you." And that God is not the monad. That God is the Son. At the Last Supper, Jesus didn't point his disciples toward the unknowable. He pointed them toward himself. He said, "Eat this, drink this, remember me." Not remember the monad, not seek the source, but remember me. Because salvation is not abstract. It's personal. It's relational. It's the moment when the infinite becomes intimate, when the transcendent becomes tender, when the distant God becomes the friend who lays down his life for you. And this is why the teaching was dangerous. Because if salvation is found in Jesus, not in institutions, not in dogma, not in hierarchies, then everything changes. Then the power structures crumble. Then the gatekeepers lose control. Because you don't need them anymore. You have direct access. You have the key. You have the door. And his name is Jesus. Now let me ask you something. When you pray, who do you pray to? Do you pray to the distant monad, the silent source, the unknowable Father who dwells in inaccessible light? Or do you pray to Jesus? Because here's the truth. When you pray to Jesus, you are praying to the one who hears, the one who answers, the one who knows your voice because he walked where you walk, suffered what you suffer, faced what you face. The monad does not walk. The monad does not suffer. The monad does not face. But Jesus does. And that's the revelation. That's the hidden truth. That's what they buried in Ethiopia, in Gnostic texts, in the whispers of mystics who were burned at the stake for saying it too loud. The monad is real. The source is real. The hidden Father is real. But he is too far to save you, too silent to hear you, too perfect to reach into the mess of your life and pull you out. So he sent the Son. Not as a messenger, not as a prophet, not as a teacher, but as himself, the Logos, the Word made flesh, the light entering the darkness, the eternal entering time. And in that moment, when God became man, everything changed. The monad ceased to be distant. The source ceased to be silent. The Father ceased to be unknowable. Because now, if you want to know God, you look at Jesus. He didn't say, "I will show you the Father." He said, "If you have seen me, you have seen the Father." Not the monad, him. At the Last Supper, in that upper room, with the shadows growing long and the footsteps of soldiers echoing in the distance, Jesus gave his disciples the final teaching, not in words, in action. He washed their feet, he broke the bread, he poured the wine, and he said, "This is how you will remember me, not in temples, not in rituals, but here, in the breaking, in the pouring, in the giving of myself for you." The monad does not break. The monad does not pour. The monad does not give itself, but the Son does. And that, my friend, is why you were never meant to hear this. Because once you understand it, once you see that salvation is not a ladder you climb, not a purity you achieve, not a gnosis you attain, but a gift already given, a love already poured out, a sacrifice already made, then you are free. Free from guilt, free from shame, free from the voices that say, "You're not enough. You'll never be enough. You have to earn it. You have to prove it. You have to work for it." No, it's already done. Jesus didn't promise salvation through the monad. He promised salvation through himself, through his blood, through his body, through his death and resurrection, through the gate he opened, The door he unlocked, the way he made when there was no way, and all you have to do is walk through it. Not by being perfect, not by being pure, not by being enlightened, but by being his, by belonging, by trusting, by saying, I don't understand it all, I don't have all the answers, but I know you, and you know me, and that's enough. The monad will never know you. The monad is too vast, too silent, too far. But Jesus? Jesus knows the number of hairs on your head. Jesus knows the secrets you've never told anyone. Jesus knows the pain you bury, the fear you hide, the shame you carry. And he says, I know, and I love you anyway. That's the teaching. That's the mystery. That's the truth they tried to bury. Salvation doesn't come through the monad. It comes through the one who left the monad to find you. So what do you do with this? How do you respond to a revelation like this? You do what the disciples did. You lean in. You listen. You trust. You follow. Not because you understand it all, but because you've met him. And once you've met him, nothing else matters. The monad is beautiful. The source is real. The hidden Father is eternal. But he sent the Son, and the Son is enough, more than enough. He is everything. If this has shaken you, good. If this has awakened something, even better. Because that's what truth does. It doesn't comfort. It confronts. It doesn't soothe. It shatters. And then, in the shattering, it rebuilds. And what it rebuilds is you, not as you were, but as you were always meant to be. A child of light, a son or daughter of the Most High, not through your effort, not through your gnosis, but through his grace. Now do me a favor. If this resonated with you, if something inside you stirred, if you feel like you've just been handed a key you didn't know you were looking for, then like this video, subscribe to this channel, share it with someone who needs to hear it, because this is just the beginning. There are more mysteries to uncover, more truths to reveal, more ancient secrets waiting to be brought into the light, and you were meant to be here for it. In the highlands of Ethiopia, the monks still chant. In the hidden monasteries, the scrolls still rest. In the silence of the sanctuary, the ancient teachings still echo, and they all say the same thing. The monad is far, but the Son is near, and the Son is enough. Jesus never promised salvation through the monad. He promised salvation through himself, through his name, through his blood, through his love. And that love is not distant. It's not silent. It's not unknowable. It's here. It's now. It's you. So take the bread. Drink the wine. Remember him, not as a doctrine, not as a dogma, but as the one who entered your prison to set you free, the one who descended into your darkness to bring you light, the one who died your death so you could live his life. That's the teaching they buried. That's the mystery they hid. That's the truth they feared. But now you know. And knowing changes everything. Welcome to the light. If you made it this far, you're ready for what comes next. Subscribe, stay close, and prepare yourself. Because the mysteries we're about to uncover will take you even deeper. See you in the next revelation.